Ton of Us, the mod for Among Us, has had some massive updates in the last few weeks. They've added 3 new roles for the imposter, the assassin, the Undertaker, and the Underdog. This video is going to show you exactly what those 3 roles do, along with all of the imposter roles within the mod up to date. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first role we're going to look at here is the Janitor. They are pretty straightforward. They're very similar to a regular imposter. They can jump in vents just as any old imposter could, and they also have the ability to kill people if they so choose. But the main difference is you have this little button here, the clean up button, which is exactly what you think it might be from the picture there. It's covering up the body like it was never there at all. And that's the Janitor. Something else to note about the Janitor is it will put both your kill and your clean ability on cooldown whenever you clean up a body or kill a body. So you can't do one and then straight away do the other. So just take that into consideration when you're playing the Janitor. The next role we have here is the Camouflager. Now the Camouflager has this interesting ability where they can turn all the colors to grey. So people can't really tell who you've gone and killed, although the body will be obvious. So some players will be able to use that to identify who has just been killed. But if they follow you, they are able to ultimately figure out your color once your timer runs out. However, unlike the Morphling, the big bone that this guy can do is they can go in vents. So being the Camouflager, camouflaging, then jumping in a vent can be a really easy getaway from a crowded kill. Another thing to note here is, much like the Morphling, when the Camouflager kills, the players will be able to know which color killed. The next role we have here is the Miner. As you can see, the Miner is able to place down their own vents and use them to their advantage. One thing to note about the Miner's vents is they will only link up with their vents, so there is no way that you can use any other vent to go back and forth between the vents you've created. You have to use the vents you've created. Another important thing to note about them is using the vent does not actually put your kill on cooldown. They are separate cooldowns, so you're able to kill someone, then immediately place down a vent and get away. The next role we have here is the Swooper, and we have this little swoop button here, and I'm going to show you what this does from someone else's perspective. When the Swooper presses the swoop button, they will go invisible and be unable to be seen by any other player in the game. Not even the imposters can see them. One important thing to note about the Swooper as well is, like the Morphling, they cannot get in vents, so you can't swoop then get away by jumping in a vent. And players, once again, will be able to see who killed them by the kill screen. This is one of the new roles, the Undertaker. When they kill a body, they are able to take the body and drag it with them. You are slowed down when you're dragging a body, so it does make you an easy target to be caught by someone, and then you can just drop that body wherever you like. You can also pick it back up and drag it again if you change your mind, you want it to be elsewhere. You can use this to hide bodies or to frame other players. The potential for this one is really as big as your brain is. Unlike some of the other imposter roles, you can actually vent with this as well. So you can set up a body somewhere, then vent out of there and leave it to somebody else to get. Something to note as well is the bodies don't have to be people that you've killed yourself. You can also drag any body you find for any reason. Alright, here we have the Underdog, which is another one of the new roles. If the Underdog kills a regular player, they've got a little bit of a longer cooldown than a normal imposter. They can report, they can do everything a normal imposter could do, get in vents and everything. But the key difference with an Underdog is what happens after one of their fellow imposters dies. Okay, so here's our other imposter. They end up getting killed by another player. And then, when we end up going around and killing other players, you'll notice the kill cooldown went from 23 seconds to absolutely half of that. It's only 12 seconds long now. We can go on an absolute murder spree. This is essentially the way the Underdog works. When things get harder for you, it gets way easier to just kill off all of the other roles in the game. Alright, next we have here the Morphling. The Morphling is able to go up to other characters in the game. They're able to take a sample of them. And then after a period of time, 5 seconds in this case, the Morphling is able then to turn into that other character. And then using this disguise, the Morphling is able to go around and kill people and frame them. Something that's important to note about the Morphling is you don't really have your disguise for a very long period of time. And most importantly, you are unable to get into vents. So you can't just morph into someone, jump in a vent to get away, and then pretend like nothing happened. You're going to need to plan out your kills pretty well if you want to frame somebody. As well, it's important to note that other players, when you kill them, will still see the regular kill screen animation. As you can see here. It still shows that I killed them and not the other color. This is important as there are some other roles that can bring players back to life, so being able to keep track of this kind of thing does actually give you an edge on the competition. This is another one of the new roles, the assassin. They don't get anything special outside of meetings. They can still vent, they can still kill and sabotage like anyone else. But when the assassin goes into meetings, they actually get a whole host of new options for them. The assassin is capable of guessing what role somebody is during a meeting, and if they guess correctly, they will be able to kill them. So the way we do this is we look through the roles here, we find the role that we think is appropriate. There we go. We can keep doing that for every role. We can just set them up preemptively. We don't actually have to worry about it until we have pressed the guess button. You can cycle through these as many times as you like. There's no trouble. What we can do there is we can quickly guess and we can finish somebody off. And you're capable of doing this multiple times in a meeting if the settings are on correct and if you guess correctly. There's a lot of customization with all these roles, so it's important to check what settings are on. But the thing is, people aren't going to be able to tell who exactly killed them. It will just look like a suicide. So, really, really useful skill. If you get it wrong, though, the downside is you end up killing yourself. Now, it's important to note that every single role within the Town of Us mod is actually highly customizable. There's a handful of settings for each role that allows the host to monkey around with exactly how that role works in game. So it's important to look at these when you're going into any given game, just so you've got a good idea of exactly how this particular game is going to be working, because it might be a little bit different to some of the other ones you've played. By default, you won't be able to view these rules, but any player is capable of viewing the rules by pressing tab while they're in the lobby here, and then you can just scroll down and you will see all of the settings, what they're currently set to. It's really that easy. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that was informative. I'm going to upload soon a neutral roles guide as well as a crewmate guide, so stay tuned if you want to find out more about how all the roles in this work. There was just a new update that dropped a new neutral role as well, the Phantom, so we're going to do the neutral roles first so we can cover that because that's more a hot topic. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like, remember to subscribe, and stay tuned. We're going to be uploading all sorts of other Among Us content.